The modern healthcare system won't help you heal.
It's designed to keep you sick and dependent on drugs.
If you want to get well, you gotta get out of the system.
You found Predictive Health Clinic.
Join us as we get well and stay healthy.
All right, folks, I am joined today by someone that I had such a good time talking to when I interviewed her on Dr. Ovedia's show. Bitten Jonsson joins us from Sweden, where she tells me it's pitch black at 7 p.m. at night. Bitten, thanks for being on the Predictive Health Clinic.
Well, thank you for letting me be here. I love it.
Oh, it's not a let. This is an honor for me to have you. So Bitten, what are you going to talk to us? One particular health issue do you want to address today?
Sugar addiction.
Oh, that's a pretty good one. So
it is big.
Let's dive into it. Why? What got you interested in this?
Because I'm a sugar addict myself, and I didn't understand that for years. So I struggled. Trying to diet and, feeling miserable, depressed in the mornings, thought I had some kind of weird depression going on, but I was hangover. It took me a long
hangover.
time. Ooh, that's horrible. And it's called volatile blood sugar. And, it starts with sluggish, tired, and it's a long list of horrible symptoms. And it ends with suicidal thoughts. That's how bad it can get.
Sugar addiction can result in that?
Oh yeah, I have had many people that felt suicidal, and also 2 of them that committed suicide that I know of.
Okay. So the next question, what's the biggest popular misconception about this issue of sugar addiction?
Can you repeat that?
What's the biggest popular misconception about sugar addiction?
Well, first of all, people don't understand that, all the carbs you eat become sugar in your body. So flour is sugar. It's a starch. It's sugar molecules holding hands. So when you chew them, they think it's the white powder or, the obvious stuff with cookies and cakes and ice creams and candy. It's not. It's much more sinister than that. So that's one misconception. The other one is that if you have a problem with it, and addiction is loss of control, you are not controlling it. It's controlling you. The addiction controls you. So that's another misconception, that you think you have to fix it yourself, and that you're bad, that you are lousy, you have a moral problem, you have no character. If only you had more willpower or discipline, you could fix it. No, not at all. It's much worse than that.
Okay, so and that the obvious question then is, so what's the truth? What's the reality here?
The reality that any addiction illness is a brain illness, that gives severe physical, psychological, social, and spiritual problems in the long run. And we tend to view the problems, the consequences, as the illness, like diabetes, like obesity, inflammation, poor health in many ways, economical problem, work problem, relationship problems. I could go on and on and on. We think it is because of those problems that we overeat or try to diet or fight the food and lose control and eat again and, struggle. But it is the opposite. The food has gotten us, we are losing our life to these food products. Not everybody that likes sugar is addicted. We have to remember that.
Right.
But I only speak about the addicts because they have the toughest, most serious problem and time. They really need help. So we don't understand to look in the middle at the addiction and see how the addiction develops. We look at the consequences and we try to fix the consequences.
Fix the consequences.
Yeah, and the addiction is in the middle laughing at us. Haha, I got you. And it keeps going on and on for years, and you develop more and more consequences. and you think you are the worst person on earth. But you know what? My clients are the most incredible, strong people on earth, because when I do this assessment over their whole life and I ask what they have done to try to conquer this problem, I promise you, they climb Mount Everest without oxygen and 40 kilos of packing every day. They are incredible, strong. And they stand up, they fail, and they stand up, and they fail, and they stand up again and again to try to heal themselves. But they have the wrong toolbox.
Okay, so there's lots of folks sitting and listening to this going,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
sounds like me. Um, Normally I say, what's the most likely outcome if people don't take action? But I would like you to just address specifically if you recognize yourself in this description and run through those descriptions again real quick. You did it right at the beginning, but
Yeah.
the obvious symptoms that you've got a sugar addiction.
Yeah. And, people know what problems they have with certain foods, which foods they cannot control. They know that if I eat these things, I'm going to be sick, I'm going to be obese, I'm going to be I'm going to get diabetes, I'm going to get inflammation, I will be this and that and so forth, I'm going to get all these consequences. Deep down they know that, and that's so painful, but they can't resist. So they try to be abstinent and they fail, and they try to be abstinent because they don't know what tools they're going to use to stick to a healthy meal plan, and not only that, to do the lifestyle changes that you have to do. So they lose control. That's a main issue. They get consequences like a lot of shame, denial. It's too painful to see, you're losing life in this way. And they know that their high blood pressure going to get worse, that their obesity going to get worse, that the diabetes going to get worse. They know all these things deep down, and they still cannot stop this running train. And of course, that creates an incredible, painful reality in somebody's life, knowing that I cannot fix myself. But it is a problem. You can't fix yourself. You need a special toolbox. You need help. You need support. You need people that understand this language to talk to you.
Yeah.
So those are some of the problems that we see, that also that each time you fall off a diet, you're going to be worse off. You eat even more. It's like you have to, compensate for everything you try to abstain. So you get sicker each time. It's like a sloping downhill,
Yeah.
and you can see it coming and you don't know what to do and you panic.
All right, so let's talk about solution.
Yeah. Solution is, of course,
what do you do?
well, my focus has been all these years to give people knowledge and to speak the language of addiction, to tell them what it is, that it's not a moral problem. It's not your fault. It is a substance that have hijacked your brain. And it happened so many years ago that you weren't really aware of it. It's not like you said one day, oh, today I'm going to start eating sugar, so I'll become a sugar addict. I mean, you can hear how absurd that sounds.
Yeah.
So you eat these things because they're in our culture, they're in our life, everywhere. And a person with the sensitivity to develop an addiction, they will slowly go into this problem without even seeing it coming. So one day you're stuck in here. Sorry, I have a dog that snores, so I need to push her nose here. If you hear a weird sound, it's not me, it's a dog.
The snoring dog.
Yeah, so what you need, first of all, is somebody that really is trained in understanding addiction, that can help you assess, evaluate, and do a diagnosis on you. So you see, this is your problem, and this is the way it looks, and here are your consequences. This is your life and your struggle, and you've done an incredible job that you are where you are today, but you had the wrong toolbox. Okay, let me start providing you with the right tools. Lots and tons of knowledge about the brain, how addiction develops, how the reptilian brain works, how it's screaming at you, eat or you die, eat or you die. and why you're losing the battle all the time with the toolbox you have. You have to understand pancreas and insulin resistance. You have to understand that, today it's a hype out in the world that's only ultra processed food is the faulty thing. No, no, no. It's any carb, any carb, because it's when you eat the carbs and they become sugar in your body and they hit your brain. That's when it happens. So you can eat 5 kilos of carrots and be high and then have a hangover, if you understand what I mean. So anyway, once they start understanding that, and we connect the dots, but because also when you go into an addiction, it's like, your reality comes apart. So it's like you have a piece of a puzzle with lots of little pieces, but they're taken apart and they're turned upside down. So you don't see that A affects C and D affects B and so on. You don't have the picture. So one of the things I really do is help people to put all the pieces together and see this affects this, and this affects this, and here is this that affects this, and so on, so that they really wake up to a new reality. I call that connect the dots hashtag. And then I tell them, this is what you need to do to become happy, joyous, and free, to be healthy, to live a life where you are in charge, where all that's you, all your energy, your light, your power can be used in the best way. You're not a victim of this drug. So we start with something called biochemical repair, which is extremely important. We don't do therapy in the beginning. You can't do therapy on somebody that doesn't have mental horsepower. You have to start repairing the body and the brain. That's the most fundamental thing that people forget because it's very broken. So it's a food plan, it's a ketogenic food plan. That's the best for this sensitive brain. And then we have to repair your breathing because most addicts, they're very high-strung people. They overbreathe. They breathe too short, too much, so that their body cannot absorb oxygen and they cannot contain carbon dioxide, which is extremely important for relaxation. So we train them in a new way of breathing. The next step is that we do what we call sleep improvement. Everybody knows that it's very healthy to sleep. You have to sleep well to get energy for the next day. We teach them, physical activity on their level. If all you do is go out on your stairs, tie your joggers, take them off again and go back in, that's the first step. But you understand what I mean? You have to start where you are. And we help them to see that because many of them have a critical committee in their head. Some say, you have to exercise, you have to run 18 miles, you have to do this, you have to eat this, you have to da-da-da. We take away, you have to, and say, this is a gift to you to treat your body in this way. This is where the light comes in. So we start changing their mental attitude, putting in a lot of information in there. And then one of the most important things is it's only one day at a time. Because people say, I cannot quit, eating this for the rest of my life. And I said, who's talking about the rest of your life? We don't know how our life's going to be tomorrow. Don't live in tomorrow. It's not here yet.
Yeah.
And then they ruminate about yesterday, they whip themselves over the head. Why didn't I do this 2 years ago? Why didn't I, blah, blah, blah. And then I tell them very firmly, yesterday's dead and gone, totally dead and gone. You can't change one thing, but we have today. So do you think you could eat in a healthy way only for today? And they say, yeah, I could do that for one day. Okay, do it for today. And, the next day we coach them to do one more day. And suddenly, days go by and they start getting the energy and the shine in their eyes back. And they start seeing what this is. But I'm going to tell you too, it's not an easy journey.
Yeah.
You don't have to be a rocket scientist to do these things, but you have to keep doing it every day, one day at a time. So it's simple, but not easy. But then people, like people in the program where we help each other, So when I have a very bad day and all I want to do is hide in my bed and eat chocolate, I called my support group and they said, okay, is that what you want to do? Nah, not really. So what could you do instead? So just one more hour, one more day. And this is, people think so much they have to do it themselves, but you need somebody that helps you against that little enemy you have in your head. That's addictive personality that wants to take over and rule you. Of course, has the craving for the drug and it wants you back into the game, eating, I want to kill you. So we tell them how to fool this red dog, the addictive personality. And I call that benign manipulation. Because the addictive personality is very, very seductive, and you can have just for today. Nobody gonna know. You can start tomorrow again or Monday. Ha ha, sure, babe. You can't. Once you take that bite, you're lost, and here you're off running again. So you have to do the opposite. You have to take, fooling that enemy inside of you by doing certain things, saying certain things, learning certain things. And the more you learn, the more knowledge you have about this, and the more you understand how things are connected, the better you can handle it. So you hear how easy it is. No, it's not.
It's simple, right?
It's very simple, very simple.
How long have you been providing the service of helping folks with sugar addiction?
Well, I started taking care of my own sugar addiction in 1992. I was in
30
one
years.
training in Chicago, at the Lutheran General Hospital in Chicago. I met some of the forerunners in this field, seeing that they call it food addiction at that time, that
Right.
it's exactly like alcoholism or heroin addiction or any addiction, right? It was totally parallels. And being a recovering alcoholic since 1985, I'm going to have 39 years in that program next Friday, this coming Friday. So that's when I started to learn about addiction, in my own treatment for alcoholism. So it was just to move that model over to the sugar, the food. And since it is the carbs and the sugar that is the problem, I absolutely prefer to say sugar addiction because, as I used to tell people, I've never, ever overeaten cod or, cucumbers or anything in that way. It's not the food. But once you're in an addictive spell, you keep going with all the carbs, you can overeat basically anything, but it is the sugar causing the havoc in your brain and your body.
Yeah,
So
that's
why it's
so
important.
interesting. It's almost impossible to overeat. I'm a beef guy myself.
Me
Um,
too.
and I sat down the other day. I think I ate 2 or 2.5 pounds of beef. I mean, I ate a lot of beef.
Yeah.
But the only effect from that was I just wasn't hungry for the next 24 hours. That was literally it. That was,
Yeah, right. But if you keep mixing that with a lot of bread and pasta and sugar, you could eat again and again and again. So basically but that is sugar. So that's what's driving your appetite and your craving. So once you take all those foods away, you're very, very satisfied with a piece of fish or meat or some scrambled eggs or good fats and all that. So then the craving almost go away totally. It can pop up now and then, but then you
sure.
can handle it in a very good way. You don't fall for it. You don't go and do something.
Ordinarily, I ask my guests, what's one of the most common complaints you get in your practice? I'm going to skip that one just simply because when we're dealing with addiction, I'm guessing that the biggest complaint is going to always be, this is hard.
Yeah.
This is a lot of work. So
Well,
let's go the other way. Tell us a good story. Tell us one of the best things you've heard from your work.
that I have my life back, that my life is back. I get so many, I get books that my clients have written, that is filled with joy and happiness and love. And I have a whole, box full of cards where they send me and they email me and they text me and, tell me how their life is today after all these years. And thank you for daring to speak the truth, because there is a jungle of food addiction experts out there with all kinds of weird methods. And I keep telling them, don't fall for that. This is a very sneaky illness. So if you're an addict, this is the way you have to go, even if it feels like, oh my God, how am I going to do it? Well, one day at a time, so forth. So, thank you for speaking the truth. I cried all the way through your book, and I thought, how did you know me? How could you write a book about me? I finally somebody that is telling me how it is that I can relate to. You talk my language, my story. So now I finally know what to do. And I have followed your advice for 20 years. And here I am today. I'm married, I'm happy, I have a job that I love, I have children. I mean, I get all kinds of. One day I thought, I should collect all these and put them together as a joy book, a book about joy.
Yeah.
And I probably do that. But, but the thing is, the most important thing for me, Jack, is when somebody comes to me and I see that the light in their eyes is gone.
Oh.
They look, miserable. They don't believe in themselves anymore. They don't believe in anything. They feel like, all I have to do is dieting and fall again and feel miserable and get one problem and illness after the other. I don't see a way out of this. And then they start getting all this knowledge. And it's like, nobody told me that. Nobody asked the questions you asked me about my eating. Nobody said that. I didn't know that. And they start connecting the dots. And then I meet them a little while later and there's light in their eyes.
Yeah.
That is incredible to see that light. I promise you, once you have seen a person go through that transformation, you're absolutely hooked on doing it again and again.
I can imagine. All right. And I hear the dog. Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah. I'm trying to stop her from snoring, but
she sounds very happy, actually.
Yeah, but in a way she is. She's a little bit bored. She's been in an accident. She was run over by a bike. So we have had some severe health problems, but so now she's bored. She wants to go out and chase dogs and cats.
All right. Well, let's wrap it up. This is my favorite question. If you had only one message to deliver about this health issue and you had no more than 8 words,
okay,
what would that message be?
Okay. Contact a professional that is trained in addiction.
That's pretty simple. Contact a professional that's trained in addiction. All right.
Yeah.
Folks are going to want to know more as a result of this conversation. Where do we send them?
You email me, and I promise I answer everyone that emails me, which people do every week, to bitten.jonsson@bittensaddiction.com. Just Google Bitten Jonsson and my website comes up. And you can contact me through that one. Send an email, and I'm happy if you send me where you live. Where in the world do you live? I don't need your address, but sort of where you live. And I can I match you with somebody, because I do not take clients anymore. I only train professionals at this point. But, I always get people in touch with each other because there are a lot of people out there that I trained that really wants to help you.
That's fantastic. We'll make sure that email address is in the show notes. Bitten, thanks so much. I love chatting with you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Me
Me too.
We're doing
And
a
good
world
luck.
of good.
Yeah, good luck with your podcast.
All right.
Yeah.
For Bitten Jonsson, this has been the Predictive Health Clinic. We'll talk to you next time.
Are you a healthcare practitioner eager to escape the grind of corporate medicine?
Are you ready to make a massive difference in your world? Listen up.
We are the Wizard of Ads.
For 40 years, we've created dominant brands in a variety of industries.
Now, we're bringing our magic to healthcare.
We're seeking one extraordinary healthcare practitioner to help us build the first national brand in direct primary care.
If you think you could be that person, let's talk.
Email us at health@wizardofads.com.
Tell us why you think you're the one.
That's health@wizardofads.com.